real estate has certainly seen a tremendous upheaval due to the pandemic. So which post-pandemic trends do you expect to persist heading into 2023?
Great question. Well, when you think about the most talked about post-pandemic trends, it's the work from home environment and it's e-commerce. On the work from home environment, we've certainly seen an increase in days of paid days at home rise from about 5% pre-pandemic to about 30%. We've also seen a preference for hybrid work, which has risen to be about 54% at the end of last year. So when you consider those two things and the impact that those have on real estate property types such as office, it's obviously going to have an impact. E-commerce is probably the other area that we talk about a lot. And we saw that retail was about 8%, 8 or 9% of internet sales was done for retail. Pre-pandemic, it's up to about 20% during the pandemic and 16% today. So you think about that, it's still, moved up quite a bit, come off a little, but still quite substantial. And we expect that that's going to have an impact on brick and mortar stores going forward.
Well, there's a lot of different types of real estate. As you mentioned, there's office, there's residential, there's retail. So what does participant capital play?
Well, we focus primarily on the Sunbelt and primarily on Florida. We are a multifamily developer and a mixed-use developer that's anchored by multifamily. We think the Sunbelt or the super Sunbelt cities like Miami and Tampa, St. Pete are the places to be most of the time, and especially now.
All right, so you're getting into the whole location
Right.
theme, which always pops up when you discuss real estate. But talk about public versus private investing.
Sure. Well, most people first are introduced to real estate with public REITs, right? And when you think about public REITs, it's a great way to get real estate income exposure. And the nice thing about that is it's liquid. You can get in and out pretty easily. The downside of that, especially in today's market, which I think is much more of a stock picker's market than what we've had in the past, is you tend to have a very broad allocation. And today, going back to what you just said, it is location, it's supply, demand, it's local markets. So REITs are probably not the most exciting place to be unless you can really have a targeted approach in your REIT selection.
So are investors looking for just the dividend when it comes to real estate? Should they expect growth? What should they expect when they put in their portfolio?
Well, it really depends upon what type of real estate strategy you pursue. In sort of private markets, private equity real estate tends to be a longer term play. And I think that's where you have to be thinking today. So if you're putting real estate in your portfolio today, you have to be looking out not about what real estate you need right now, but what real estate is going to be needed in the future. If you're looking for income, REITs have always been a nice place to be. Low volatility, certainly outperformed broad bond indices over the last 10 years. But you're going to have to be a bit more selective in the type of REIT you're going into.
All right, finally, let's be selective. Talk about the perfect project for participant capital. Where would it be? What type of project would it be?
Well, certainly we're biased. We're biased to South Florida. We think that is the place to be because of the migration to South Florida. So, the benefactors in the Sunbelt states, primarily have been Texas and Florida. Florida is a close number 2, but you think about population growth in South Florida, we're up about 1.9% last year, which kind of places us top in the country for the first time in 50 years. So being in South Florida markets or in places like Tampa or St. Petersburg, when you're building multifamily, we think that's going to benefit. There's a lot of headwinds out there. There's rising interest rates driving people out of the home buyer market and putting them back into the rental pool. That's where we're targeting our future projects. We're launching a Sunbelt multifamily fund this year that's going to target development in South Florida.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming on and talking about it.
Thank you for having me.